Good rising. Happy hump day to you. What it do, y'all? I am feeling great this rising. I finally created a morning or a rising and evening routine for myself. And it's been amazing. Before I get into what I want to talk about today, let me just share that. So I wrote down like important morning practices, and I wrote down, so what do I want to feel in the morning? I want to feel energized, pumped, in flow at the start of every day. So then I identified some activities I could do to do that, because I have been doing that reflection on my capacity, y'all. Remember those two questions to ask at the end of the day that I got from Hallie? What built capacity in me today? What killed my capacity today? So at this point, I've been doing it for like a month plus, a little over a month, and I've been able to have a really thick list of things that really build capacity in me. Like, I know who to go to for particular things now, right? I know what to do, like how to stack my days so that I have energy in the daytime. It's amazing. And like, I can actually, because I have such a wide list of specific things, I'm going to share my list with y'all one day. I can actually also incorporate some into my nightly routine. So important night practices. I want to go to bed feeling complete, fulfilled, empty of the day, and open to dreams/new beginnings. And then I identified some activities and things that I can do with that. So I'm feeling really great this rising for having done everything that I said. Oh, one thing I didn't do, drink water. Actually, no, I did drink a sip of water, but I need to drink a little bit more. So, dry lips. So yeah, we'll talk about morning, nightly routines moving forward too. It's so important to, the statistic I had given y'all last time was that we have I'm going to get specific, right? We have between like 6,000 to 80,000 thoughts. It's a huge range. People can't, I don't know, people have all kinds of stuff. The thing I heard was 60 to 80,000, but if I want to include all the statistics, 6,000 to 80,000 thoughts. Either way, 80% of them are negative, meaning they take away from the goals that we want. They take away from us living our lives fully, in our full divinity, in our highest expression. You know, like, oh, let me make this phone call. Oh, but what if they don't want to hear from me, right? Those are the thoughts that come up. That's what I mean by negative. And then 90% are the same as yesterday. They're repetitive. So we're constantly simmering in the same shit and creating a lot of the same stuff around us, which is why I've learned morning and nightly routines are so important for breaking that cycle and kind of incorporating new, like an intentional time to break the cycle and incorporating new thoughts, especially if you have an affirmation practice or something like that. So yeah, today though, I wanted to talk about values. I got into a really intense, I guess there's a conflict, right? Because to me, conflict is the difference of needs. So a parent has a need to protect and a child has a need to explore, and so they fall into conflict, right? Because the needs are opposing. And so instead of like, my need is more important than yours, we have to find compromise and also collaboration. We have to collaborate to find a common ground. Okay, so like for instance with the parent example, it's like, okay, I don't feel comfortable with you going over there, but we can go over here, right? Or explaining what is going on. Or allowing the child to explore, and then, you know, when you explore, come back over here, you know. There's different options, right? That's between the two people who are collaborating to figure out. But I bring that up because I was in conflict, realizing a difference in values, actually, with my partner. And it was so interesting because I'm learning, you know, nonviolent communication and learning to convey myself without, I'm allowing conflicts to be life affirming and life enhancing versus, good rising, versus like tearing people down because we're in conflict, right? And so what I realized when I was talking to him, we were butting heads a lot, and I was like, oh, and I realized, oh shoot, I think I actually am having a question about your values here. I actually don't know what your values are, what your ethical values are, what your guiding principles in life are. And I realized, actually, that's important to me, especially as he builds his platform, right, and like is doing a lot more in the world and interacting with more people, building communities. It's really important that we, good rising, y'all, have an awareness of what our values are. So today I wanted to talk to you about values. Ooh. So values simply, well, here's some definitions I found. The way you live and work, what's most important in life. They motivate your actions and should inform your priorities usually, and serve as guiding principles. Principles that give our lives meaning and allow us to persevere through adversity. Those are our values. So as you can see, values are incredibly important, because if you don't have values, or if you're not aware of your values, you're likely being guided by society's values or your family's values, right? And if you don't agree with your family's values and you kind of rebel and you never really define your own values, I just think a Carl Jung quote for y'all: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Okay? So this is a time, I think, that's just so beautiful for us, good rising, to get in tune with our values, especially as shit is hitting the fan and shit is falling around all around us. We need to know what is important to us, right? Because societally things will shift, and also societally, I would say I don't share the same values as America does. Okay, and that's why we are in conflict. However, I'm clear on my stuff. So I wanted to share my values with you. These are like 5 that I came up with that are just like, I just gave myself like 30 seconds to write them out, and boom, this is what came out. So I have love. Love for me, coming from, I'm understanding, I've been reading all about love by Bell Hooks, and so she defines love, and the way I'm going to define love, I'm not going to keep going to her definition, is the commitment to personal evolution and the commitment to support others in their personal evolution. So the way she defined it is like the will to extend oneself for your own growth or for another person's growth, and I agree with that. I think personal evolution and a commitment to it and creating, allowing those changes to happen, that's a big part of my values. So love, vulnerability, and radical honesty, I put them together, and that could be summarized as softness. I have a tattoo that says stay soft. That's my shit. Grace, accountability, and freedom. Okay, grace meaning I don't really care for perfectionism. I care for honesty. It goes with the vulnerability too, but I believe that once someone is vulnerable, it's important for us to be graceful with them, right? Because I think a lot of the times we gift people our vulnerability and they be like, slap that shit out of your face, like just get really offended by it, right? So what are some of your values? Yes, thank you so much, 4 a.m. Jelly Pop, for sharing that. Share some of your values with me if you have them off the top of your head. So yeah, grace is about leaving perfectionism off the table, leaving perfect off the table, and instead favoring authenticity and our truth. Let the truth be what it is. We're not going to say the right thing, but we will say the things. That's what grace is for me. Be raggedy. Accountability, to me, is the ability to account. So being able to speak on a situation and hold space for all parties involved, and not necessarily one party is more valued over another, because perpetrator and victim, we need to hear both sides to understand what's going on, right? There's 3 sides to every story: her side, my side, and the truth, right? And if there's like 5 people, then 6 sides to the story. You know what I'm saying? There's always this extra element of truth which we can happen upon and understand more when we're able to hold space for both parties. To hear the commonalities, to hear the disagreements, the tension between the stories. It's important to hear all accounts. That's something I firmly believe in. And freedom, baby. I believe that we are sovereign beings that who have taken on a lot of conditioning and programming and suppressed ourselves a lot through our families, right? Because our family, if we understand that we live in a world where authority kind of runs around and rules everything and tells us what to do, a lot of things are replicating that, right? So our family homes are replicating that. That's why parents don't really allow questions, or often parents don't welcome questions, because you're not supposed to question authority. Church, school, teams, they all tend to replicate the larger system of power, right? Which is that there's somebody that we have to revere and then put ourselves under. I don't believe in that. I believe that we are all sovereign. I believe that we all have choice. Right. I think that we can choose to relate to each other in particular ways, but I do think that we all have a right to freedom, and I think that we're free to do whatever. I believe this is what I'm saying, right? Laws are they're constructed, right? Because you made a law that people are not supposed to kill people. So why is there an obsession with serial killers? Because people are free to do whatever they want. Like, literally, at the end of the day, no matter what rules you put on, yeah, you can threaten me with violence, you can put me in jail, you can put me to death, but I'm still free to do what I did. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in freedom. So again, I'll repeat my values, and I'd love to hear yours. Love, vulnerability, and radical honesty, grace, accountability, and freedom. That's my shits. Some other values that I read as I was like, actually, first let me give you these questions and then I'll spit out some values for you. So if you're having some trouble figuring out your values, here's some questions you can think about. So what is most important to you in your work? What is most important to you in your relationships? What do you look for in a new friendship? That one is cool. What do you look for in a new romantic relationship? List out 10 things that drive you crazy. Like, really get under your skin. What is missing or being violated in those situations? Look at the way you live. Look at your personal code of conduct. What unspoken rules do you follow? I recently had a creative writing prompt that I shared with my writing group, which was, what are the guiding principles, the laws of your universe? Yeah. What's most important in life? Boom. That's the simplest one. If you don't want to answer any of the other ones, what is most important in life to you? And what do you think other people should find most important in life too? If you have that kind of, we shouldn't be out here trying to convert people, but usually when we're upset about the world and how it looks is because it's rubbing up on our own values, right? What else do we have? What must you have to experience fulfillment? What brings you fulfillment? What do you need to have fulfillment? That's really important. Look at the people that you really admire and look up to. What are their values? What are some of the qualities that they have? And last but certainly not least, what are you willing to take a stand for? So if you answer some of those questions, I assure you, if you take the time to truly reflect, you will be able to find the things that are most important to you, right? And really identify your values. It's so important. I can't state it more. As a person who is, I did this test called the High Five test, and it shows you your 5 greatest strengths. And I did it once before when I was leading a team of people, and it's funny to see them again because they're very different. But the 2 strengths that repeated themselves were storytelling and believer. Believer meaning I have very strong values and I stick by them, and I'm very, 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 very about them. Oh, and the last thing about values that I'll share with you is values exist hierarchically, in that they exist on there are some that are more important than other ones. For instance, this is an example my coach gave that I love. Just to let y'all know, it's a little violent. If you have a value of life, right? Like, I don't kill nobody, right? Like, I value life. And you also value family. But if someone kills your family and you're willing to go kill somebody else or that person, right? That means that your value of family is higher than your value of life. And it's not a judgment like, oh, bad. No, not good, not bad. Just notice. Just notice. So you know what is actually important to you. So sometimes, for instance, family is really important to you, but respect is even higher. And, so we got to be sure to just be aware of how we hold our values too, because sometimes that's what gets rubbed up against other people. So some values that I read that were just like, for example, if y'all need some. So like, there's security, zeal, joy, autonomy, family, loyalty, authenticity, achievement, teamwork, health, balance, popularity, stability, romance, adventure. There's all kinds of stuff. You can make anything your values. So I'm very curious to hear about your values. Let me know if you want to share. I'm so down to hear them. And have a beautiful day. I hope that you take some time to reflect on these things. Bye.